The 20-year-old extraterrestrial queen was protected by a human, and she thanked him repeatedly. The air shimmered with tension as the grand palace of Urindor stretched across the sparkling plains of Liara's homeworld. Towering crystal spires reflected the twin suns, casting rainbows across the golden gardens below. Crowds of nobles, advisors, and diplomats moved gracefully through the ceremonial hall, each step echoing against polished stone floors. The young queen, Liara, moved among them with an elegance far beyond her 20 years. Her silver-blue hair flowed like a river of starlight, and her violet eyes seemed to hold centuries of wisdom, even though she had only lived 2 decades. Liara's people, though advanced, were proud and cautious. Their civilization had survived countless interstellar conflicts, yet even with all their defenses, the queen knew that power and peace were never permanent. Today, she had come to observe a diplomatic gathering meant to solidify alliances with neighboring star systems. Delegates from dozens of planets had come, each with their own customs and intricate robes, their voices a symphony of languages. As the queen walked, her mind wandered to the reports she had received over the past few days. Strange signals had been detected near the outer moons, small fleets appearing and disappearing like shadows. Most dismissed them as scouts, but Liara had learned to trust her instincts. Something was not right. Suddenly, the hall quaked. A deep vibration ran through the floor, and the crystal chandeliers rattled above. A hush fell over the crowd, replaced quickly by sharp cries of alarm. The grand doors at the far end of the hall exploded inward in a shower of light and debris. Alien soldiers poured through, their armored suits glinting menacingly under the sun. Liara's heart raced. These were no ordinary raiders. They were precise, coordinated, and brutal. The rogue faction she had feared had arrived sooner than expected. They were here to capture her. Her advisors froze, their faces pale with terror. Some drew weapons, but their training could not match the sudden chaos and the sheer number of enemies. Liara acted. She moved swiftly, her instincts guiding her to a side corridor she had walked many times before but rarely in danger. She had learned the palace's secrets, its hidden passages and escape routes in case of an emergency like this. She ran, her long cloak trailing behind her as the alien attackers advanced. Just as a squad of soldiers cornered her near a side door, a figure appeared seemingly from nowhere. A human. Liara had only seen humans a few times in her life, mostly as diplomats or scholars. This one moved with confidence and calm. He was tall, with short brown hair and steady green eyes. His body was lithe but strong, and in his hands he carried a weapon unlike any her people used, a mix of compact design and incredible power. The human stepped forward, speaking quickly but firmly in the universal language. "Step back, I've got this." Before Liara could protest, he fired a shot that released a blinding flash of energy. The aliens screamed as their armor malfunctioned, sparks flying. With precise movements, the human took down one attacker after another, using the environment to his advantage. He threw objects, ducked behind columns, and even rolled across the floor to avoid incoming fire, all while protecting Liara from harm. Liara's eyes widened. She had never seen a human fight like this. Their species was underestimated by many civilizations, often considered weaker than advanced aliens, yet this one was clever, adaptive, and fearless. She felt a mix of awe and gratitude. "Thank you," she called out as she moved beside him, her voice calm but urgent. "Thank you for protecting me." The human glanced at her but did not stop fighting. "No time." "We have to move." His tone was practical, almost casual, but there was an unmistakable intensity in his actions. Liara realized that this was a person who thought quickly under pressure, who could improvise when nothing went according to plan. They moved through the corridors, dodging blasts and leaping over fallen debris. Liara followed the human's lead, trying to match his pace, but she was not trained for this kind of combat. Still, her own agility and reflexes were heightened by her alien heritage, allowing her to keep up. Every turn they took seemed calculated, almost as if the human already knew the palace's weak points better than anyone else. Finally, they reached a hidden stairwell leading to the outer gardens. Liara's heart pounded as she looked back. The aliens were relentless, their numbers seemingly endless. The human placed a hand on the door, scanning the area, and then whispered, "This way, follow closely." They emerged into the gardens, where the golden grasses swayed in the twin sunlight. Liara's palace guards had been overwhelmed, and the attackers were now behind them. The human led her toward a small hovercraft hidden among the ornamental trees, a sleek machine capable of traveling quickly through air and space. As they climbed inside, Liara could not stop herself from speaking again. "I owe you my life," she said earnestly. "You saved me when no one else could." The human gave a small nod. "Just doing my job," he replied, but Liara sensed that his humility was genuine yet understated. He did not need praise, he needed action. The hovercraft lifted smoothly into the sky, evading pursuit with agile movements that belied its size. Liara looked down at her palace, now a battlefield, and felt a pang of sorrow. Her people were strong, but they had been unprepared for this attack. She pressed a hand to her chest, her mind racing with questions. Who was behind this attack? How had they known the exact moment to strike? And most importantly, how could she survive long enough to reclaim her kingdom? The human seated beside her seemed to sense her thoughts. "You're going to be okay," he said. "We'll find a safe place, then we plan our next move." Liara nodded, though uncertainty gnawed at her. She studied him closely, noting the way he remained calm despite the chaos, how his eyes scanned constantly for threats, and how every movement was precise and deliberate. She realized that she had found an ally unlike any other. Humans might not have had advanced alien technology, but their minds and courage made them formidable in ways that could not be measured by weapons alone. Hours passed as they navigated through asteroid fields and planetary defenses. Liara learned more about her protector in snippets of conversation. His name was Alex, a human sent by an interstellar coalition to observe potential conflicts. He had trained for situations just like this, though nothing could have prepared him for the intensity of protecting an alien queen under direct attack. Liara admired him silently. She had been raised to lead, to make hard decisions, and to act with poise under pressure, but she had never relied on anyone so completely. And yet, with Alex, she felt a strange sense of safety she had never known before. "Why do you fight so fearlessly?" she asked at one point, her voice breaking the tense silence. "You could have left me back there." Alex shrugged, his expression unreadable. "Because someone has to, and because I don't leave people behind. It doesn't matter if they're alien or human. If you're in danger, I'm going to stop it." Liara studied him, fascinated. His courage was not reckless. It was deliberate, calculated, and filled with an almost unshakable determination. She found herself thanking him again, though this time her words felt inadequate. "I don't know how to repay you," she said quietly. Alex gave a small smile. "Just survive, that's enough for now." Night fell as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, and the stars of distant galaxies began to sparkle in the darkened sky. Liara leaned back in her seat, exhaustion mixing with relief. The palace, her home, was lost for the moment, but her life had been saved by a human who defied expectations and fearlessly faced the impossible. As the hovercraft soared through space toward a hidden location Alex had discovered, Liara's mind buzzed with possibilities. Humans might be young as a spacefaring species, but they had a spark, a resilience, and a creativity that could change the course of entire civilizations. And now, one such human was by her side, a protector and perhaps something more. Through the long hours of travel, Liara thanked him repeatedly, each time with more sincerity than the last. She did not just thank him for saving her life. She thanked him for showing her a new perspective on strength, courage, and the unexpected power of humanity. Alex listened, occasionally responding with modest reassurances, but he never stopped watching, never stopped protecting, and never wavered in his duty. Liara realized that she had not just found a protector. She had found a human who could teach her about loyalty, bravery, and the unpredictable force that humanity could be in a universe dominated by advanced alien civilizations. By the time they reached the edge of the neutral star system, the first light of a new sun appeared on the horizon. Liara looked out at the glowing landscape, feeling a sense of hope that had been absent since the attack. The battle had been fierce, the odds stacked against her, but she had survived, and she had survived because of him. "Thank you," she whispered one final time for the moment, her voice carried by the soft hum of the hovercraft engines. "I won't forget this. I will find a way to honor what you have done for me." Alex glanced at her with a small, almost imperceptible nod. "We'll figure it out together," he said simply. And for the first time since the attack, Liara felt a flicker of peace, knowing that with a human like Alex by her side, perhaps no danger in the galaxy could ever truly defeat her. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the hovercraft's sleek canopy, a dark sea dotted with glowing points of distant worlds. Liara sat in silence, her fingers lightly brushing the smooth console in front of her. The events of the past hours played over and over in her mind, each memory a mix of terror and gratitude. She had survived an attack that could have ended her life, and she owed it all to Alex. Alex, seated opposite her, piloted the hovercraft with calm precision, his hands moving over the controls as though they were extensions of his body. Every so often, he would glance at the readouts and nod, adjusting their trajectory slightly to avoid detection by remaining enemy scouts. Despite the tension, there was a rhythm to his actions, a quiet confidence that gave Liara a strange sense of reassurance. "I need to know where we are going," Liara said softly. "If we are to survive, I must understand our path." Alex looked at her briefly, his green eyes steady. "There's a neutral planet several light years from here, remote, hidden from any major trade routes. We can lay low there for now." Liara nodded, absorbing the information. "And you trust it will be safe?" "For now," Alex said. "No place is ever completely safe, but this one has something the attackers won't expect. They won't know where to look for us." She considered his words. Humans were young as a spacefaring species, yet here was one who could think quickly, adapt to unknown dangers, and navigate through the vast darkness of space without hesitation. She had always respected intelligence, but this was something more. This was courage combined with skill. Hours passed as the hovercraft glided silently through empty space. Liara tried to speak, to break the tension, but every question she formulated seemed insignificant compared to the survival at stake. Finally, she spoke, her voice hesitant. "Why do you fight for me, Alex? You don't owe me anything. You could have left me back there." Alex's gaze met hers, steady and unflinching. "Because someone had to," he said simply, "and because leaving was never an option. If you were captured or killed, everything would fall apart. My job is to protect, and that's what I'm doing." Liara studied him, fascinated. Humans often surprised her. They were small in number compared to other species, less advanced technologically in many ways, yet capable of an almost reckless bravery that made them unpredictable and powerful. "I have never met a human like you," she admitted. "Your courage, it is remarkable. And your mind, it works in ways I cannot fully comprehend." Alex gave a small smile, a rare moment of levity in the tense hours. "You'd be surprised what humans can do when they are pushed to the edge. We survive, we fight, we improvise. That's how we've lasted as a species." Liara considered his words. She had been raised in a civilization where planning, intelligence, and technology often determined the outcome of conflicts. But here was a species that relied on instinct, on creativity, on willpower, and Alex embodied all of it. She felt admiration welling inside her, a mix of respect and gratitude. The conversation was interrupted by a sudden alert on the hovercraft's display. A faint signal appeared, a blinking dot moving closer on their sensors. Liara leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "Is that them?" Alex scanned the readings carefully. "Yes, looks like a patrol vessel. They must have traced our escape route. We need to act fast." He maneuvered the hovercraft with precision, skimming past asteroids and through narrow gaps in space debris. The patrol vessel fired detection pulses, sending waves across the sensors, but Alex's quick adjustments kept them hidden. Liara watched in awe as he anticipated each movement, predicting the enemy's reactions almost before they occurred. "This is incredible," she whispered. You are extraordinary," Alex gave a faint shrug. "Just doing what needs to be done, don't overthink it." The patrol vessel moved closer, scanning the void. Liara felt a knot tighten in her stomach. If they were detected, the rogue faction would follow them relentlessly. But Alex's calm presence was contagious. She took a deep breath, trusting him as she never had trusted anyone before. Minutes stretched into hours as they navigated the asteroid field. Alex's skill allowed them to slip past the enemy unnoticed, and eventually the patrol vessel gave up the chase, moving on to search elsewhere. Liara exhaled, relief washing over her. You saved us again," she said softly, her voice filled with gratitude. "I do not know how to repay you." Alex shook his head. "You survived, that is enough. Everything else will come later." Liara smiled faintly, though her mind was already racing ahead. They were safe for now, but she knew this was only the beginning. The rogue faction would not stop until they had captured her, and she would need to reclaim her throne. She looked at Alex and realized that she would need him. not just for survival, but for guidance, for strategy, and for hope. As the hovercraft neared the neutral planet, Alex prepared for descent. The world below was hidden beneath a thick atmosphere, its surface covered in dense forests and jagged mountains. Satellites and sensors from other civilizations could not detect it easily, and its isolation made it ideal for refuge. They landed in a small clearing surrounded by towering trees. The air was thick with the scent of alien flora, fresh and unfamiliar. Liara stepped out cautiously, taking in the beauty of the hidden world. It was peaceful here, a stark contrast to the chaos she had left behind. Alex quickly set up a temporary shelter using portable equipment, ensuring that they would remain concealed from any orbital scans. Liara watched as he worked, amazed at the simplicity and effectiveness of his methods. He moved with efficiency, setting up energy shields, communication devices, and sensors to monitor for any approaching threats. "You humans," she said softly, "are capable of amazing things with so little. Your creativity, it is unlike anything I have seen in my own civilization." Alex glanced at her, a faint smile on his face. "We make do with what we have, that's how we survive. Sometimes it works better than the most advanced tech in the universe." Liara nodded, realizing that she was learning more from him with every passing moment. His resourcefulness, courage, and calm under pressure were lessons she could never have learned in a classroom or through observation alone. She felt a growing sense of admiration and respect. As night fell on the hidden planet, Liara and Alex sat by a small fire he had created, the flames casting flickering shadows across their faces. The stars above were bright, untouched by city lights or pollution. For the first time since the attack, Liara felt a sense of calm. "I want to learn from you," she said quietly, "not just to survive, but to fight, to think, to understand how humans overcome impossible odds." Alex looked at her, surprise flickering in his eyes. "You want to train with me?" Liara nodded. "Yes. If I am to protect my people and reclaim my kingdom, I need to know how to think like you do, how to adapt, improvise, and act decisively." Alex considered this for a moment, then nodded. "All right, but it won't be easy. Humans are persistent, but learning this will take focus, courage, and trust. Are you ready?" Liara's violet eyes glimmered with determination. "I am ready." Over the next few days, Alex trained Liara in the art of survival and tactical thinking. He taught her how to read her environment, anticipate threats, and make quick decisions. They practiced stealth maneuvers, combat simulations, and strategic planning. Liara absorbed every lesson eagerly, her natural intelligence allowing her to adapt quickly. Through the training, their bond grew stronger. Liara continued to thank Alex repeatedly, not just for saving her life, but for teaching her to be more than a queen who waited to be protected. She was learning to become a leader who could inspire, fight, and survive. Alex, for his part, began to admire Liara in return. She was not merely a young queen. She was intelligent, quick-thinking, and courageous. Her willingness to learn, her humility in the face of danger, and her determination to protect her people made her extraordinary. Together, they formed a partnership built on respect, trust, and a shared goal: to reclaim her kingdom and defeat those who sought to destroy her. One evening, as they reviewed maps and star charts for the next stage of their journey, Liara spoke again, her voice soft but resolute. "I do not know what fate has in store for us, Alex, but I do know this. With you by my side, I feel that no enemy is unbeatable. You have shown me the strength of humanity, and for that, I am forever grateful." Alex nodded, looking at her with a seriousness that matched her own. "And you've shown me the value of courage and leadership, Liara. Together, we can face whatever comes next. I promise you that." As the hidden planet's night stretched on, the two sat in quiet determination, preparing for the challenges ahead. The rogue faction would not stop, and the galaxy was filled with dangers, but for the first time, Liara felt a sense of hope. With a human like Alex, a protector and partner, she realized that survival was only the first step. Victory, and perhaps even the future of her people, was within reach. The bond between human and queen had deepened, founded on trust, respect, and a shared understanding that they were stronger together than apart. Liara's gratitude continued, heartfelt and unwavering, while Alex remained her steadfast shield and guide. Together, they would face the darkness of the galaxy, prepared to turn fear into strength, uncertainty into strategy, and survival into triumph. The first step of their journey had ended, but the real battle was just beginning. and both Liara and Alex knew that the trials ahead would test every skill, every lesson, and every ounce of courage they possessed. The hidden planet stretched before them like a secret waiting to be discovered. Towering trees with silver leaves swayed gently in the alien breeze, and rivers of blue water cut through valleys that sparkled under the twin suns. Alex guided Liara carefully through the dense forest, their footsteps quiet on the soft, moss-covered ground. Every so often he would pause, scanning the horizon with trained eyes. The rogue faction was still out there, lurking somewhere in the galaxy, and they could not afford any mistakes. "This place is incredible," Liara said softly, her eyes tracing the alien beauty surrounding them. "How did you find it?" Alex smiled faintly. "Humans have a way of noticing things others don't." "A hidden valley, a remote world. It's all about looking in the right places and knowing what to trust." Liara nodded, admiration shining in her violet eyes. She had spent her life in palaces with advanced technology and highly trained guards. Yet here she was, in the middle of an untouched world, relying on a human to ensure her safety. She thought about the battle that had brought them here and realized how much she had underestimated humans before. They were more than clever, more than adaptable. They had courage that could match even the most advanced alien soldiers. After several hours, they reached a small clearing where the forest opened to reveal a hidden human settlement. It was unlike any city Liara had ever seen. The structures were simple yet efficient, built from natural materials combined with technology that blended seamlessly with the environment. Homes and workshops dotted the landscape, connected by narrow paths that wound around the trees and rivers. Energy shields were nearly invisible, a subtle shimmer in the air that promised protection without drawing attention. Liara stepped forward cautiously, her senses alert. She had never visited a human settlement before, and she was both curious and wary. Alex gestured for her to follow as they approached the central building, a large hall with walls of glass that reflected the golden sunlight. Inside, humans moved with purpose, tending to machinery, studying star charts, and communicating with others through sleek devices. The energy in the settlement was calm yet focused, a stark contrast to the chaos they had left behind. "This is where we'll be safe for now," Alex said. "We can rest, plan, and prepare." Liara's eyes widened as she took in the scene. "You humans, you live here in harmony with nature and technology, yet you are ready for anything. This is remarkable." Alex nodded. "We survive by adapting. We have to be ready for anything, anywhere, and sometimes hiding is the best way to stay alive." They were greeted by a few human leaders who nodded respectfully at Alex and then at Liara. Though she was young, her presence commanded attention. She smiled politely, bowing slightly in acknowledgement. The humans did not need her to fight. They trusted her intelligence and authority, sensing her leadership instinctively. Over the next few days, Liara learned more about human resilience firsthand. Alex guided her through the settlement, showing her training grounds, communication networks, and hidden supply caches. She observed humans working together, solving problems and creating strategies with limited resources, and she was struck by their ingenuity. Where her civilization relied on overwhelming technology, humans relied on quick thinking, improvisation, and the will to overcome impossible odds. "You see," Alex said one afternoon as they walked along a narrow bridge spanning a glowing river, "humans don't always have the strongest weapons or the largest fleets, but we have something many species underestimate: our mind, our creativity, and our refusal to give up. That is why we survive." Liara considered his words carefully. She had always valued intelligence and strategy, but Alex's explanation gave her a new perspective. Survival wasn't just about strength or numbers, it was about courage, adaptability, and determination. Humans were underestimated at every turn, and that underestimation was their greatest advantage. That night, as the twin moons rose over the settlement, Alex introduced Liara to a small strike team. They were humans trained for interstellar operations, skilled in stealth, combat, and survival under extreme conditions. Liara watched as Alex explained her situation briefly, emphasizing the importance of her survival and the necessity of careful planning. The team listened intently, their expressions serious. Liara realized that humans were not only courageous individually, they were incredibly coordinated as a team. Each member contributed a unique skill, yet they operated as a single unit, anticipating each other's moves and adapting to the unknown. "You will train with us," Alex said finally. "If we are to reclaim your kingdom, you need to understand how we think, how we fight, and how we survive." Liara felt a surge of determination. She had been trained to lead, to make decisions, and to think strategically, but this was different. This was not classroom knowledge. It was practical, real-world training that would test her mind, her reflexes, and her courage. She nodded firmly. "I am ready." The next days were grueling. Liara trained alongside the human strike team, learning hand-to-hand combat, evasion techniques, and tactical maneuvers. At first, she struggled to keep up with their speed and unpredictability, but Alex guided her patiently, teaching her to anticipate movement, to read situations quickly, and to act decisively. "You are thinking too much," Alex said one morning as she hesitated during a simulated ambush. "Don't plan every step, feel it, react, trust yourself." Liara's violet eyes narrowed as she nodded. She focused on her instincts, allowing her reflexes and intuition to guide her. Slowly, she improved. She learned to move silently through the forest, to strike swiftly and accurately, and to anticipate the actions of an opponent. Her skills, combined with her alien reflexes and intelligence, made her an increasingly formidable presence among the human team. During training breaks, Liara and Alex spent hours discussing strategy. She shared insights about her civilization's defenses, political structures, and enemy tactics, while Alex taught her about human improvisation, planning under uncertainty, and the power of small teams to make large impacts. Their conversations were filled with respect and curiosity. Liara thanked him repeatedly, but now her gratitude carried admiration as well. She was learning not just survival, but how to lead with courage and cleverness. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky in shades of purple and gold, Liara spoke quietly while sitting beside a small fire in the settlement. "Alex, I never realized humans could be so capable, so courageous. You and your people have shown me a strength I never understood before." Alex glanced at her, the firelight reflecting in his green eyes. "You're seeing it now. Humans are underestimated too often. But those who survive, those who fight, prove that we are capable of more than anyone expects." Liara smiled faintly. "I hope to bring that perspective back to my people someday, to show them that strength is not just in technology or numbers, but in courage and intelligence." Alex nodded. "And you will, but first we prepare. The rogue faction will not stop. They will come after you again, and we need a plan that ensures they fail. You will not only survive, you will lead the way to victory." Liara felt a surge of determination. She had been running from danger, relying on Alex's protection, but now she understood that she could become an active force. She could fight, plan, and inspire. She was no longer just a queen in need of protection. She was a leader in training, ready to reclaim her kingdom. The training intensified. The human strike team simulated ambushes, infiltration missions, and escape scenarios, pushing Liara to her limits. Each exercise taught her something new, not just about combat, but about trust, teamwork, and adaptability. She learned to rely on her instincts, to anticipate threats, and to make split-second decisions that could mean the difference between life and death. Through it all, Alex remained by her side. He corrected her mistakes gently, encouraged her progress, and challenged her to think beyond her previous limitations. Liara found herself thanking him constantly, but now the thanks were deeper, layered with respect and acknowledgement of his skill and guidance. One day, while reviewing star charts and enemy movements, Liara paused, her hand hovering over the table. "Alex, do you really think we can reclaim my kingdom? The rogue faction is strong, and my people, they've been shaken." Alex looked at her steadily. "Yes. If we combine your knowledge, your leadership, and our human skills, we can outthink and outmaneuver them. It won't be easy, but nothing worth doing ever is. And you're not alone. We'll do it together." Liara's violet eyes glimmered with determination. For the first time, she felt the weight of her destiny not as a burden, but as a challenge she could meet. The rogue faction might have believed she was weak, that she could be captured or defeated easily, but they had underestimated both her and the human beside her. As the days passed, the hidden planet became their training ground, a sanctuary where skills were honed, strategies were planned, and bonds were strengthened. Liara watched the human team work together, learning from each other, improvising under pressure, and adapting to every challenge. She realized that this was more than preparation. It was the formation of a new way to fight, one that combined human ingenuity with alien wisdom. By the time they were ready to leave the sanctuary and move toward the next phase of their mission, Liara had transformed. She was no longer a young queen merely protected by a human. She was a leader who understood courage, strategy, and adaptability. She was ready to take action to reclaim her kingdom and to show that the underestimated could achieve greatness. Before departure, she turned to Alex, her voice steady and filled with gratitude. "I cannot thank you enough for everything. You have not only saved me, but you have taught me how to be strong in ways I never imagined." Alex smiled faintly, his expression modest. "We're a team now, that's what matters. We face the challenges ahead together." Liara nodded, a spark of determination in her eyes. Together, human and queen, they would face the dangers of the galaxy, combining courage, intelligence, and skill. The rogue faction would learn, too late, that underestimating humans and underestimating her was their greatest mistake. And as the hidden planet's forests faded behind them, Liara felt a sense of purpose stronger than fear, a conviction that she would reclaim her kingdom and prove that courage, cleverness, and partnership could overcome even the most impossible odds. The night sky of the remote moon was dark and heavy with clouds, concealing the stronghold below. Jagged cliffs surrounded the facility, and a faint red glow from the alien installations illuminated the rocky terrain. Liara stood beside Alex at the edge of a cliff, observing the enemy fortress through a compact telescope. Her violet eyes reflected determination, but beneath it was a tension she had never known before. This was no training exercise, this was the real battle. "Alex," she whispered, "it is larger than I imagined. How will we get inside without being detected?" Alex's expression was calm, his green eyes scanning every detail. "We go in small, fast, and quiet. No one expects a tiny team to reach the heart of the fortress. That is our advantage. You've trained for this, Liara. Trust what you've learned." Liara nodded, gripping her weapon tightly. The alien soldiers patrolling below were numerous, heavily armed, and alert. But Alex had planned meticulously. They had studied the patrol rotations, the sensor patterns, and the weakest points of the fortress. The humans called it strategy. She had always called it intelligence. Together, they made a formidable combination. The team moved down the cliff using stealth lines Alex had rigged earlier, landing silently in a shadowed area just outside the main perimeter. Liara's heart pounded as she crouched, blending with the darkness. The humans were precise and efficient, signaling silently to each other as they moved. Liara followed Alex's lead, noting the subtle movements, the small gestures, the communication without words. She realized that humans had developed ways to act as one unit, almost like a single organism. They reached the outer wall of the fortress. Alex produced a small device and attached it to the gate, a faint hum filling the air. Within moments, a panel on the wall clicked open, a hidden entrance that bypassed sensors. Liara slipped through, her breath steady despite the adrenaline pumping through her veins. Inside, the corridors were cold and metallic, illuminated by a dim red light. Alien symbols and technology lined the walls, advanced and intimidating. Liara felt a familiar tension, but she also felt confidence. She had learned to trust her instincts, and she had Alex and the human team at her side. They were a blend of skill, courage, and adaptability that could rival the strongest foes. They moved carefully, disabling security nodes and avoiding patrols. Liara marveled at the human ingenuity in their methods. Where her civilization would have relied on overwhelming power, humans used intelligence, timing, and cunning. It was a different kind of strength, one that complemented her own abilities perfectly. Suddenly, a patrol approached. Alex signaled the team to freeze. Liara's pulse quickened. The soldiers were nearly upon them, and any mistake would trigger alarms. Alex whispered instructions, and the team moved as one. Liara watched, learning, and then acted. She used her alien agility to slip behind a guard, disabling him silently. The rest of the team followed, and within seconds the patrol was neutralized without a sound. Liara felt a rush of satisfaction and pride. She had contributed, she had acted decisively, and she had done so without hesitation. Alex gave her a brief nod of approval, a silent acknowledgement of her growing skill and confidence. They reached the central chamber, where the rogue faction leader awaited. The room was vast, filled with alien technology and energy barriers. The leader, a towering figure clad in black armor, turned as they entered. His eyes narrowed, recognizing Liara immediately. "You are foolish to return," he said, his voice resonant and commanding. "You cannot defeat me." Liara stepped forward, her voice steady. "We are not here to defeat you alone. You underestimated humans, and that was your first mistake." Alex moved beside her, his weapon ready. The human strike team fanned out, positioning themselves strategically. The rogue leader's soldiers surged forward, and the battle erupted with a sudden intensity that rattled the chamber. Liara fought alongside the humans, combining her alien agility with the tactics Alex had taught her. She dodged, struck, and moved with precision, her every action enhancing the team's efforts. Alex coordinated from the center, anticipating enemy movements, issuing silent signals, and adapting to changes in real time. The synergy between human and queen was extraordinary, a dance of strategy, skill, and courage. The rogue leader unleashed advanced technology, energy blasts, and force fields, but Alex's planning had accounted for every move. He exploited the weaknesses in the enemy's systems, guiding the team to disable critical nodes, while Liara and the humans engaged directly. Each strike, each maneuver was calculated to destabilize the leader's control. Liara found herself facing one of the leader's elite soldiers. The alien moved swiftly, their attacks precise and deadly. Liara dodged, countered, and finally disarmed the soldier, incapacitating them without fatality. She realized that her strength was not just in fighting, but in combining intelligence with skill, using her mind as much as her reflexes. Meanwhile, Alex led a small team to the central console controlling the fortress's defenses. With careful precision, they bypassed security measures, disabled energy barriers, and turned the fortress's technology against its own defenders. Liara watched in awe, understanding fully how human ingenuity could overcome even the most advanced systems. As the battle reached its peak, Liara and Alex faced the rogue leader directly. He unleashed a devastating energy attack, forcing them to dodge and regroup. Liara's agility allowed her to move with incredible speed, while Alex calculated every angle and timing to maximize their advantage. "Now, Liara," Alex shouted. She understood immediately. Using a combination of her alien abilities and the human tactics she had learned, she struck at a critical weak point in the leader's armor, destabilizing his energy field. Alex followed with a precise attack that disrupted the control systems he relied upon. Together, they executed a perfect coordinated strike, bringing the leader to his knees. The remaining soldiers, seeing their leader defeated and their systems failing, surrendered or fled. Liara stood in the center of the chamber, breathing heavily, her heart pounding with adrenaline. Alex approached her, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You did it," he said simply. "We did it." Liara looked around, taking in the victory. She realized that this was more than survival, it was a turning point. She had fought, learned, and led alongside humans, combining strengths in a way no one could have predicted. Her respect for Alex and his people deepened even further, and she felt gratitude that went beyond words. "I thank you," she said, her voice filled with sincerity. "Not just for protecting me, but for teaching me, guiding me, and standing beside me." Alex smiled faintly. "You don't need to thank me. We're a team now. That's all that matters." Liara nodded, understanding fully. The rogue faction had believed they could defeat her with force and fear, but they had underestimated both her growth and the humans' resourcefulness. They had underestimated the strength that came from unity, courage, and cleverness. As the team secured the fortress and prepared to leave, Liara reflected on everything she had learned. Humans were not the weakest species in the galaxy. They were underestimated, unpredictable, and remarkably resilient. And when combined with her leadership and alien abilities, they were unstoppable. The team returned to the hidden planet briefly, tending to minor injuries, repairing equipment, and planning the next steps. Liara trained herself further, refining the skills Alex had taught her and integrating her own knowledge of her people's systems and defenses. She had grown into a capable leader, ready to reclaim her kingdom and protect her people with confidence and courage. That night, as she sat beside the fire once more, Liara looked at Alex, her gratitude and admiration shining clearly. "You have changed my life," she said softly. "I will not forget this. You have shown me the strength of humans, the power of partnership, and the courage to face what I once thought impossible." Alex nodded, his expression calm but firm. "And you've shown me what leadership and determination can achieve, Liara." Together, we've proven that we can overcome any odds, but our mission is not over yet. There's more to be done." Liara's violet eyes glimmered with determination. She understood that the victory at the fortress was only the beginning. The rogue faction might be weakened, but they were still dangerous, and the galaxy held countless threats. Yet with Alex and the human strike team at her side, she felt a strength she had never known before. She realized something else, too. The repeated thanks she had offered Alex were no longer mere gratitude. They were recognition of a bond forged through danger, strategy, and shared courage. Humans were capable of extraordinary feats, and together they could achieve what neither could alone. As the moons of the hidden planet cast silver light across the settlement, Liara allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection. She had survived impossible odds, learned from the humans, and faced enemies that had once seemed unstoppable. The rogue leader had fallen, the fortress was secured, and her confidence in herself and her allies had grown beyond measure. Yet she knew the journey was far from over. There were still battles to fight, still strategies to plan, and still a kingdom to reclaim. But for the first time, Liara felt that victory was not just possible, it was inevitable. With courage, intelligence, and partnership, they could overcome anything. And with Alex at her side, she knew that the strength of humanity and the wisdom of her people would shine brighter than any enemy, stronger than any weapon, and more enduring than any fear. The galaxy would remember this alliance, and the underestimated human would stand as a protector, a strategist, and a hero alongside the young queen he had saved. The twin suns rose slowly over the horizon, casting golden light across the plains of Liara's homeland. The kingdom, once darkened by fear and chaos, now seemed fragile but full of potential. From the hidden sanctuary, Liara and Alex watched the world below. The rogue faction had been disrupted, but remnants of their forces still lingered. The time had come to reclaim her throne, restore order, and show that courage and intelligence, especially that of humans, could change the fate of entire civilizations. Alex stood beside her, scanning the terrain with his experience. "The enemy is scattered, but they will regroup if we give them time. We move today." Liara nodded, her violet eyes sharp with determination. She had trained, learned, and grown. She was no longer the queen who relied solely on others for protection. She was a leader who could act decisively, inspire allies, and fight alongside her people. And Alex, the human who had saved her, was her trusted partner in this mission. Together, they were unstoppable. The strike team moved silently through the forests, approaching the outskirts of the capital city. Humans and Liara's advisors had planned carefully, using a combination of stealth, misdirection, and strategy. The humans set up temporary energy shields, communication relays, and traps to isolate the enemy while minimizing civilian risk. Liara observed their methods closely, impressed once again by their resourcefulness. "Humans are remarkable," she whispered to Alex. "Even with so little, you can achieve so much." Alex shook his head with a small smile. "It's not just humans, it's teamwork, planning, and courage, and now you are part of it." They entered the city under the cover of early morning mist. The streets were eerily quiet. Many of Liara's people had hidden during the rogue faction's attacks, and others had been forced to evacuate. The air was thick with tension, but also with hope. Liara felt a surge of responsibility and resolve. Her people depended on her to lead them to safety and victory, and she would not fail. The first obstacle was the main gate, heavily guarded by the remaining rogue soldiers. Alex and the team coordinated silently, setting small charges and using distraction techniques. Liara moved alongside them, ready to intervene if necessary. As the charges detonated, creating controlled explosions and diversions, she noticed the enemy's confusion. Their numbers were fewer than before, and their morale was fragile. Liara led the charge into the gate, her speed and reflexes giving her a critical advantage. She disabled several guards with precision strikes, combining her alien agility with the tactical lessons Alex had taught her. Humans flanked her, taking advantage of the openings she created, and within moments the gate was cleared. Alex followed, neutralizing key targets and securing control points. Together, they moved as a seamless unit, human ingenuity and alien ability working in perfect harmony. Liara marveled at how far she had come. Not long ago, she had relied entirely on Alex for survival. Now, she was actively shaping the battle, making decisions that ensured victory. The streets of the city became a battlefield. The rogue faction's soldiers fought desperately, but they were disoriented and divided. Liara's strategic commands guided both her loyal forces and the human strike team. She coordinated flanking maneuvers, secured civilians, and neutralized threats with both intelligence and precision. In the central plaza, the rogue faction's remaining leader attempted a final stand. He raised his weapon, a massive energy cannon, and fired toward the heart of the city. Liara and Alex reacted instantly. Liara leaped with incredible speed, dodging the blast while directing the humans to counterattack. Alex used the terrain and quick calculations to disable the weapon's support systems, and together they neutralized the threat. The remaining enemies, witnessing their leader's defeat and the precision of the combined forces, surrendered. The city was secured, and Liara's people began to emerge from their hiding places. Their eyes widened in awe as they saw their queen standing tall, flanked by humans who had fought and strategized alongside her. Liara's heart swelled with pride and gratitude. She had reclaimed her kingdom not through overwhelming power alone, but through intelligence, strategy, and partnership. She turned to Alex, her voice clear and firm. "We have done it. We have reclaimed the city, and the rogue faction can no longer threaten us." Alex nodded, his green eyes scanning the horizon. "It's not over yet. There are still pockets of enemies, but with this momentum we can secure them quickly." Over the next several hours, Liara and Alex coordinated the remaining operations, rounding up stragglers and restoring order. Civilians were guided back to safety, and repairs began on key infrastructure. Liara's people looked to her with renewed faith, inspired by her leadership and the presence of the humans who had fought so fiercely alongside them. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the city, Liara and Alex stood atop the central palace balcony. The people below cheered, their voices rising in celebration of their queen's return and the defeat of the rogue faction. Liara felt a deep sense of fulfillment and gratitude. She turned to Alex, her expression sincere. "I cannot thank you enough, Alex. You have saved my life, trained me, fought beside me, and guided me. Without you, none of this would have been possible." Alex smiled faintly, shaking his head. "You don't need to thank me. You did the hard work. You learned, adapted, and led. I just helped you see what you were capable of." Liara's violet eyes glimmered. "No, it is more than that. You showed me the true strength of humans, the courage, intelligence, and resourcefulness that can change the course of a battle, a war, even a civilization. I will never forget this. I will honor it." The people of the city began to gather around the palace, cheering their queen and her allies. Liara raised her hand, signaling for calm. She addressed her citizens with a steady voice, one that carried both authority and warmth. "Today, we have reclaimed our home. Today, we have proven that courage, unity, and determination can overcome even the greatest threats. We will rebuild, we will thrive, and we will remember that no enemy is stronger than the will to protect what we love." The crowd erupted in cheers. Liara turned to Alex once more. "I hope you understand," she said softly, "that you are now part of this kingdom. Your courage, your skill, and your partnership have saved us all. You are more than a protector, you are a hero." Alex's expression remained calm, but Liara could see the faint pride in his eyes. "Thank you, Liara," he said quietly. "But this was a team effort. Humans, your people, we all played a part." Liara smiled, feeling a warmth she had never experienced before. For 20 years, she had been a queen, but now she understood the true meaning of leadership, partnership, and courage. She had faced fear, learned from humans, and grown stronger because of it. And Alex, the human who had saved her life, would forever be remembered not just as a protector, but as a friend and ally. In the following days, Liara worked tirelessly to restore her kingdom. Citizens returned, commerce resumed, and the rogue faction's influence vanished. Alex remained by her side, offering guidance, strategy, and support. Together, they demonstrated that humans and aliens could collaborate effectively, combining strengths to overcome challenges that neither could face alone. Liara's gratitude never wavered. She thanked Alex repeatedly, not as a queen thanking a protector, but as a leader acknowledging a partner who had stood beside her through impossible odds. She spoke to her people of the humans' courage, their ingenuity, and the lessons they could learn from their allies. The story of Alex's bravery spread quickly, becoming a symbol of hope, collaboration, and the underestimated strength of humanity. One evening, as the city shimmered under starlight, Liara and Alex walked through the streets together. Citizens waved, some bowing respectfully, others smiling and cheering. Liara's heart swelled with pride, not just in her reclaimed kingdom, but in the bond she shared with Alex. "You have changed my life," she said softly, her hand brushing lightly against his. "You have shown me the strength of humans and the power of partnership. I will never forget what you have done." Alex nodded, a rare smile forming. "And you've shown me the power of leadership, courage, and determination. Together, we've done something incredible. And we'll continue to protect and strengthen your kingdom." Liara's eyes gleamed with determination. "Yes, we will. And humanity will always have a place here, remembered not for domination, but for courage, intelligence, and loyalty. You have proven that even the smallest species can change the fate of the galaxy." The two of them stood quietly, gazing at the horizon. The kingdom was safe, the rogue faction defeated, and hope had been restored. Liara felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment and gratitude. She had learned, she had grown, and she had fought alongside humans who had taught her that courage and ingenuity could overcome any odds. And Alex, the human who had once saved her life in a palace under attack, remained at her side, a partner, a strategist, and a friend. Together, they had shown the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated, that intelligence and bravery could surpass even the most advanced alien civilizations, and that unity between species could achieve greatness. Liara turned to Alex one final time, her voice filled with sincerity. "I will never forget you, Alex, not for what you have done for me, but for who you are, a human capable of incredible courage, loyalty, and intelligence. Thank you for everything." Alex nodded, his expression calm yet proud. "And I will never forget you, Liara. You've shown me what it means to lead, to fight, and to inspire. Together, we've proven that nothing is impossible when courage and intelligence come together." As the night settled over the city, the Queen and the humans stood together, watching the stars. They had faced impossible odds, battled enemies that seemed undefeatable, and emerged victorious. The kingdom was safe, the rogue faction defeated, and the people had hope once more. Liara's voice was quiet but resolute. "This is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast, and there will always be challenges. But now I know that with humans by my side, no threat is too great, and no enemy is unbeatable." Alex smiled, a rare expression of satisfaction crossing his face. "We'll face them together," he said. "As partners, as allies, as friends, humanity has proven itself, and so have you." The kingdom thrived under Liara's leadership, and humans became respected allies across the system. Her bond with Alex remained unbroken, a symbol of partnership, courage, and the extraordinary potential of humans. Together, they had changed the fate of a kingdom and shown the galaxy the power of unity, intelligence, and bravery. And as the twin suns rose once more over the plains, Liara knew that this victory was not just hers. It was a victory for humanity, for courage, and for every being who believed that even the underestimated could achieve greatness.